Welcome back. I am the Watch King. On this video, we're starting a new series, overhyped or not, right? Are these overhyped or fairly hyped or not overhyped or good value? We're starting off with a banger, my personal GMT Master 2, but this goes for any current production GMT Master 2 in stainless steel, but it could be any, actually, really it goes for any of the models. So, well, is it overhyped or not, right? We're going to talk about Daytona, other watches in the future, but unlike all those other watches, the GMT Master was really pioneered by Rolex. Rolex made, the other companies followed Rolex, unlike the Daytona, right, where they it was kind of a flop and they had to copy Zenith. And then unlike the Sub, where they literally just stole the plans from Blancpain, that was a whole thing. They didn't really create that. It was kind of a guide. They're great watches, don't get me wrong. Rolex, trust me, my little take on that is not going to affect Rolex sales. But the GMT Master, now that was pioneered by Rolex. That was designed in partnership with Pan Am to let pilots know they needed a way to know the current time and the time they were landing, right, wherever it was. So they can announce over the speakers what time it is and they can keep track of their schedules. Very important watch in 1953. So they created this watch. I actually had the very nice privilege of reviewing an original one with the Bakelite bezel. Definitely go check it out. One of the craziest watches I've ever reviewed, you know, most historic and all that. And it was the 38 millimeter, no crown guard, just incredible. But coming all the way to today, they still have that functionality. They still have that look. Other companies had to copy Rolex because Rolex was truly the original in the way they displayed it, right? The originals only had the bezel movement, so they can tell 2 time zones. You don't even need to move the bezel now. The hour hand independently moves. So what does that mean? That means there's 2 positions of the crown. First position, you pull out, you can change the hour hand independently. Let's say, for instance, you're in Los Angeles and you work bi-coastal. You will fly to New York for 1 week. You just have to move the hour hand 3 hours ahead. So move the crown 3 times. You'll be 3 times ahead and then pull it in. You could look straight down. The 24-hour hand doesn't move. You know exactly what time it is in Los Angeles. That was a very easy example. That's 3 hours. But let's say you're on a plane from Istanbul to, I don't know, Luxembourg or London, or for instance, even New York, right? Where there's so many time zones in between. You're in Europe, or that Istanbul, for instance, is Turkey. But you can know the time around the world instantly by looking at your wrist, which is still important in today's age, right? People have their phones, but let's say you're on the phone, you can look down, you can instantly know, right? On top of all this, you actually have the date involved, which the date to me is very important because I need to write checks or I need to know the date for certain things, to upload videos or anything like that. It is very important key. So it has the Cyclops, it has the date there. On top, all that together, right? All the functionality, the 24 sets of hands, the bezel, all that, it is extremely clean, right? It's not overcrowded, unlike a Breitling Navitimer, for instance, or anything like that. This watch has that all. Very functional. It's 40 millimeter, so it fits on most people's wrist. Now, if you have a tiny wrist, like 6 inches, you might have a problem, but even then, fits very well. Now, I wear it on the Jubilee bracelet. I've never worn it for a long time on the Oyster, but I can imagine it's not miserable on the Oyster either. It is so silky smooth. I can't even, the Jubilee bracelet on Rolex is got to be one of the best bracelets in the world. Presidential also. And then Oyster is great too, but the Jubilee is so breathable. It doesn't show any scratches. I mean, I've had this watch 2.5 years, something like that. Actually, way longer than that. Probably closer to 3.5 or 4. But even then, there's barely any scratches. You have to really look, and it's a lot of thanks to that Jubilee bracelet right there. So with all that in mind, I think it is fairly hyped at retail. Yes, it's still a lot of money for a stainless steel watch, and you can go to other brands, but they're the original. They're the starters of this look, right? They made the design of this type of look mainstream. They were the first ones to do a GMT like this, and they deserve the hype. I think it is fairly hyped. Let me know your opinions. I definitely know that you will in the comments down below. And I do have a favor towards this exact model with the Pepsi and the Jubilee of the modern. So that's my personal. So let me know. Thank you, and I will definitely catch you in the next one. Have a great day.